Ironically, as Maul finally learned some patience, it would only be a few weeks before he could finally step out of the shadows. Sidious contacted his agents in the Trade Federation and had them move to blockade Naboo. Then Senator Palpatine would fight alongside Queen Padme Amidala to expose the weakness of the Valorum administration. A decade from now, the Sith Lord hoped to drag the entire galaxy into war, and for this, he needed the Jedi to think that the Sith had returned to manipulate the galaxy once more. The Jedi would need to retake their position as generals, defending the Republic from the Sith-controlled military force. So this weapon, which Sidious had been forging since childhood, was finally to be unsheathed, drawn against the Queen and the 2 Jedi who helped her escape.
It's impossible to locate the ship. It's out of our range.
Not for the Sith.
Sidious instructs him to find the Queen, and by scanning the destination of all signals sent out from Naboo, he picks up on a distress call from Governor AUDIBLE. Maul informs his master of the finding, and the Lord of the Sith says that the moment he has long been craving has finally arrived.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
Arriving at this sand planet via his scimitar, once planetside, he lets out a swarm of probe droids. Eventually, they discover a Naboo royal ship, and Maul races across the dune seas on his heavily modified speeder bike, the Bloodfin. As he closed in on the form of 2 humans sprinting towards the J-Type 327, Maul felt a vast disturbance in the Force that surprisingly came not from the Master, but from the small boy, Anakin, who would become Darth Sidious's most prized apprentice just 13 years later. But this feeling had to be ignored. He was bursting with furious excitement at finally being able to openly confront a true Jedi Master. Igniting a single blade, swift and powerful blows were blocked, but quickly draining Qui-Gon Jinn, an unrelenting barrage of saber and force-powered athleticism. If not for the Royal Starship kicking up sand and giving Qui-Gon an out, he may have been killed in just a few more seconds, as the Sith calmly stands tall, while the Jedi is exhausted, collapsing to the floor and short of breath.
Are you alright?
I think so.
What was it?
I'm not sure.
Back on Coruscant, Palpatine would manipulate the Queen, while the Jedi Council talked of the potential of the Sith re-emerging after millennia of extinction. A revelation that shook the foundation of the Jedi Order, with only Yoda considering that Qui-Gon's troubling conclusions might be true.
Impossible. The Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
I do not believe the Sith could have returned without us knowing.
Hard to see the dark side is.
Unsure what to do with this information, the Jedi have to focus on the task at hand, and Qui-Gon and Kenobi escort Padme and her retinue back to Naboo, where they will join Gungan forces to retake the capital. Anticipating this move, Darth Maul has been sent to the Royal Palace to work with the leaders of the Trade Federation. When Amidala does return, the Jedi are to be killed, and the Queen forced to sign the treaty. And so, moments after their arrival on the compound, Maul challenges them in the palace hangar. Both blades activated, he was able to put those long years of countless trials to use, easily engaging both Jedi while leading them right into a trap. Through the blast doors, they entered the plasma refinery complex, and these raised platforms would be used to separate apprentice from master. With each strike and parry, he channeled his anger, but he was not able to lead Qui-Gon through the laser wall defense grid quick enough. They were split up, with simply no way to continue the fight until the barrier lifted. Sidious may have smirked if he could have seen how the battle tested Maul's patience. As Qui-Gon calmly went into meditation, the Sith Lord paced with the energy of a wild animal. When the gates lift, the relentless assault from the double-bladed lightsaber continues, and eventually, he finds an opening. He had now killed a Jedi Master, and Maul instantly turned to look Kenobi in the eyes to savor the young Jedi's pain. When the gates come down once more, it is the Jedi who channels his rage into a ferocious assault, which results in the severing of Maul's lightsaber. But the Sith is still able to keep Kenobi at bay, and engage him long enough to open up his defenses to a forced push. Hanging over the side, Maul casually kicks the apprentice's blade into the reactor shaft, and the Sith decides to toy with his next kill. But oddly, the Jedi does not seem afraid. Utterly unwilling to be out high-grounded, Kenobi draws completely on the Force, launching himself up and over Maul, calling his master's lightsaber to him before cutting the Sith in two. Absolutely stunned by this impossible defeat, Maul's body plummets down this shaft. That same day, the Sith who had kidnapped him and brutally worked Maul into a weapon from the time of his childhood was on top of the galaxy, as Palpatine was elected to Supreme Chancellor of the Republic. Maul's indulgence in the final moment of the battle was his undoing, while Sidious's strategy of patience proved effective. That night, the Senator would return to his homeworld to attend the funeral of the slain Jedi Master. As the crowd looked upon the pyre, The Jedi wondered which of the Sith was killed, the Master or the Apprentice, while Palpatine looked at the result of years of training a Jedi assassin. Both believed that this monster of a Dathomirian Zabrak was killed that day.